Donald Trump is a name synonymous with many things: reality TV, skyscrapers, and a presidential campaign that defied all political norms. But when it comes to business ventures, it's easy to forget that the man has more failures than a discount parachute factory. Despite branding himself as the ultimate business mogul, Trump has left a trail of spectacular flops in his wake. Let's take a look at some of his most notorious business misadventures, ventures that made his name not as a dealmaker but as a deal-breaker. First on the chopping block is Trump Steaks, a prime example of how not everything benefits from a shiny gold logo. Launched in 2007, Trump Steaks was supposed to be a gourmet meat service that would deliver premium cuts to your door. But instead of setting the world aflame with sizzling success, it left a bad taste in everyone's mouth, literally. Customers complained about the steep prices, not to mention the actual quality of the meat, which one reviewer said was only good for people who love overpaying for a mouthful of rubber. The steaks were sold through the Sharper Image, a store best known for selling massage chairs and air purifiers, not the place to grab a ribeye. Trump Steaks was put out to pasture after just 2 months, and it's baffling that anyone thought the combination of Trump and mail-order meat was a recipe for success. A well-done failure indeed. Then there was Trump University, the for-profit school that might as well have come with a certificate in advanced scamology. It started in 2005, advertising itself as a way for everyday folks to learn the secrets of Trump's real estate empire. Instead of producing budding entrepreneurs, it mostly churned out bitter lawsuits. Despite charging students up to $35,000 for courses, the educational value was about as substantial as an online tutorial on how to boil water. Many students reported they learned little, aside from how to empty their wallets. Professors had no credentials in real estate, and the so-called mentorship programs were little more than upsell pitches. The university was shut down in 2011, but not before a flurry of lawsuits claiming fraud and deceptive practices. Trump eventually settled for $25 million in 2016. You could say Trump University really mastered one thing: teaching people what it feels like to get swindled. Trump Airlines, because when you think of quality air travel, you think of an overstimulated real estate mogul. In 1989, Trump took over Eastern Air Shuttle, a small airline that flew between New York, Boston, and Washington, D.C. His grand plan was to slap his name on the planes, renovate the interiors with gold fixtures, and charge premium prices for what was essentially a commuter airline. Unfortunately for Trump, people flying short distances between major cities don't particularly care if their armrest is plated in 24-karat gold. Passengers wanted reliability and cheap fares, neither of which Trump Airlines could provide. The airline struggled with debt, competition, and the fact that no one really wanted to spend extra to sit in what amounted to a flying Trump Tower lobby. After a few years of turbulence, Trump defaulted on his loans, and the airline was grounded in 1992. The idea that people would pay more just to fly on a Trump-branded plane probably makes sense only in a world where The Apprentice had never aired, and that's saying something. Trump also tried his hand at the liquor industry with Trump Vodka, launched in 2006 under the slogan "Success Distilled." This was clearly meant to appeal to people who think wealth and class can be bottled up and poured over ice. Trump bragged that Trump Vodka would be the best vodka in the world, but as with many of his ventures, reality fell short of the hype. Despite initial sales in the U.S., the brand never caught on and was pulled from the shelves by 2011. One can only imagine that potential buyers, rather than raising a toast to the billionaire, just poured one out for their money. In retrospect, it's fitting that Trump Vodka didn't last long in the American market, as it's hard to sell vodka in a country where the majority of the populace has tasted failure at some point, and few would want to drink it. Another oddity in Trump's portfolio of faceplants was Trump the Game, a board game released in 1989 that promised to let players experience the thrill of making deals like the Donald himself. The problem? The game was so confusing, no one knew what the thrill was supposed to be. Designed as a Monopoly game, the rules were convoluted, and players quickly realized that making deals with imaginary money is only fun if you're not Donald Trump. The game flopped so hard that it was discontinued in less than a year. In 2004, it was briefly resurrected after Trump's popularity surged with The Apprentice, but even the renewed interest couldn't salvage this mess. It turns out that while some people might want to watch Trump on TV, few are eager to simulate his business career on their kitchen table. Perhaps the most ironic of Trump's business failures is Trump casinos. Casinos are basically money-making machines, and yet Trump managed to go bankrupt running them several times. In the 80s and 90s, he opened a string of casinos in Atlantic City, including the Trump Taj Mahal, Trump Plaza, and Trump Castle. While these establishments boasted Trump's signature brand of excess, they also accumulated massive amounts of debt. By 1991, Trump's Taj Mahal was hemorrhaging money faster than a gambler on a losing streak. The financial strain from his casinos forced him to declare bankruptcy multiple times throughout the 90s and early 2000s. By 2016, all of Trump's casinos had closed, and his empire in Atlantic City had crumbled like a house of cards. The image of Trump, a man who prides himself on wealth, unable to make a profit from a casino, a place specifically designed to take people's money. And let's not forget Trump Ice, the bottled water brand he launched in 2003. While it might seem like a harmless product, Trump Ice is emblematic of his habit of slapping his name on anything that could be marketed. Trump Ice was promoted as premium bottled water, but in the crowded market of water, it sank quickly. Even Trump's charisma couldn't convince people that his water was any wetter or crisper than other brands. In fact, it mostly just became a punchline, serving as an example of his over-the-top branding strategy. After a short, tepid run, Trump Ice melted away and was discontinued in 2010. Trump's trail of failed ventures is long and varied, covering everything from airlines and board games to mail-order meat and fake universities. Each flop offers a glimpse into the bizarre world of Trump's business brain, where branding is everything, substance is optional, and failure is just a PR problem waiting to be spun. Despite all this, Trump has always maintained that each failure was a learning experience, a temporary setback on the road to even greater success. While that spin may work for him, the rest of us can only sit back and marvel at how someone so consistently bad at business somehow convinced so many people he's a genius. Thank you for listening to another episode of Loopholer, your go-to podcast channel for quick, witty, and insightful takes on random topics, all in 8 minutes or less. Whether we're diving into quirky facts, exploring weird loopholes, or just pondering life's strange questions, we keep it short, fun, and engaging. Perfect for curious minds on the go. Like or subscribe, and get your fix of unpredictable knowledge bites.